Dragon Ball Super Episode 3 Yume no Suzuki wa Kododa Super Saiyan God Sagase, which translates to Where Does the Dream Continue? Find Super Saiyan God, Episode 3 of Dragon Ball Super. And if you've seen Dragon Ball Battle of Gods, Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods, you don't have to watch this episode, but you probably should and probably will watch it anyway. So let's talk about the episode. This episode was basically a retelling of the first act, almost the first act, of Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. And the episode starts out with Beerus and Whis going back to their mysterious planet. Now, there is some new exposition here, some new dialogue that I want to get into. They open the episode with that, and Old Kai is explaining that the Kaios, he actually explains this, and it's been talked about before, but now it's explained in the series. The Kaios, the Kaiou-shins, are the gods of creation, and that Beerus is one of the god of destruction. And they both, Old Kai and Supreme Kaiou-shin, Kibito-shin, the fusion of Kibito and Kaiou-shin, they agree that nobody should battle Beerus in combat. Of course, Son Goku's name is mentioned because they know that Goku's going to want to fight him. So they talk to Kaiosama telepathically, a.k.a. King Kai, and they agree not to tell Goku about Beerus, which leads to Kaio getting a bunch of yellow paint on him because he was painting his house. Old Kai detects that Beerus is awake, but as of this part of the episode, he's not worried yet. He's worried, but not that worried because he hasn't done anything. So we also are explained from Old Kai that only gods can sense God Ki, and that may factor in later on when Champa's around. So also later on in the episode, Old Kai talks about how Beerus is the one who sealed him in the Z-Sword. More on that later. Now, it's interesting because they go to Kai's planet, like I said, with Goku and Kai. And it's funny because they're retelling Battle of Gods, and they have all this extra time, and they reference and show the flashback of the Cell game when Goku teleported Cell to Kai's planet and, blew the whole thing up. But they don't even take time to explain how the hell he got his planet back. Now, maybe I missed this in translation. I don't know, but they don't even explain it. I watched the Spanish sub before I did this video review, and I speak Spanish, but I don't know if I 100% trust the Spanish subbers to give me 100% accuracy. It was pretty accurate, though, except they kept calling him Bills. That's not what Beerus' name is, but I don't believe they even mentioned the Kai getting a new planet. So then the episode kind of shifts over to Beerus and Whis when they're back in their home, and Whis calls the Oracle Fish, and of course they consult with the Oracle Fish about Beerus' dream and the prophecy 39 years ago that was made about a great rival to Beerus. Of course, the Oracle Fish says he doesn't know, but it's very similar to the movie. So Beerus and Whis have pretty much the same conversation they had in the movie, almost word for word, about Goku overthrowing Frieza and that whole, Whis does a little scene and everything. And the only addition is that in Super, Beerus is taking a hot bath in a badass looking jacuzzi, but they're talking about it. And couple of quick notes about that. The line where Beerus says in the extended cut of Battle of Gods, Beerus says that he wiped out the Earth's dinosaurs for being rude. That was repeated here, which makes no sense because there are dinosaurs in Dragon Ball. We've seen them already. However, maybe he wiped out most of the dinosaurs, not all. As I stated before on this channel, Beerus reveals officially that he told Frieza to blow up Planet Vegeta, which I have a whole video about that on my channel. I actually have 2 videos about it. Not too happy about that one at all, which I'm going to get to here shortly. They only show... they show Goku fighting Frieza again on Namek, but what's weird is they actually reanimated this. This is the only flashback so far where they reanimated it, which looks fucking weird compared to the rest of the show, because in the first 2 episodes, every time you saw a flashback, it was footage from Dragon Ball Z that was animated back in the 90s, not reanimated footage. And I know a lot of people had problems with them keeping the old scenes in there the way they were without them being redone or restored, but I thought it was okay only because it's kind of a reference to the past, and I'm fine with it. But now if you're doing, references to the past and flashbacks and you're putting in new footage, well, why don't you just make new footage? I mean, is Toei that lazy? I mean, damn. It's visually weird. So then we go to Krillin 18 and 18. They're in a car with Marin in the backseat playing with what appears to be a Game Boy Advance. Remember those? And 18 says she really wants to go play bingo, but they're stuck in traffic. 18 shows more personality in 5 seconds of Super than in all of Dragon Ball Z, really. I do love these character moments. So Krillin says, fuck it. They put the car in the capsule and decide to fly. We then see a giant yacht, which is where Bulma's birthday party is taking place, which we knew from the leaked information that came out in the Superstar Guide. And we see a nice little montage of all the characters kind of meeting again, including our first look at Yamcha, Puar, Chaozu, Ten Shinhan. We see Roshi and Oolong creeping on chicks at the beach. We see Boo there, and Satan and Boo are already eating a lot. And Satan promises Boo that Bulma's preparing a huge feast in his honor. So Boo should chill out with the eating. And it's funny because maybe this is why Boo doesn't want to give Beerus any food, because he thinks it's all for him. That's coming up in a future episode. Happened in Battle of Gods. I wonder if that's going to be kind of more explanation on that. We'll see. But this is all highlighted by an awesome, awesome scene where Gohan gives Piccolo a card from his wedding, with Piccolo there looking very let down that his boy is getting civilized. Love this scene. Vegeta, the husband of the year, is training during his wife's birthday party, and Goku, who's been best friends with Bulma since he was a little boy, also is distracted and forgot about his own best friend's birthday party. What a dick, this guy. But this, of course, makes Kai happy because it'll distract him from Beerus. So the episode ends when the Kais are very worried because Beerus is heading right for Goku and North Kai's planet, and the entire universe could be in danger, not just the planet. So that's it for the episode. In the next episode preview, some very strange things. Like expected, the next episode is going to be all about Pilaf and his hunt for the Dragon Balls. I am happy to see Pilaf again. That I have no problem with. And then there's some weird animation where there's some very thick line art in the episode. It looks like a freaking Flash cartoon. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. Those of you who saw the episode. Looks very weird, very jarring. Almost like that scene in the Fusion movie, in the Janemba movie, where... You remember that scene where, like, they show Goten and Trunks and the animation's all, like, super cartoony for, like, 2 seconds? Meanwhile, Vegeta and Goku against Janemba's all, like, modern and serious and very weird. Now, I don't know if that's how the episode's going to actually look or if it's just unfinished animation. I don't know. It could very well be either one. But that's the thing about these next episode previews, guys, is that I know the majority of people listening to this have never seen the Dragon Ball Z next episode previews or the Dragon Ball ones because they're very hard to find. You have to have Dragon Boxes to find them. But in those next episode previews, there was tons of examples of unfinished animation where it was almost done but not really done yet. This could be that too. So... that's the preview for the next episode, and there will not be an episode next week because Fuji TV is doing what's called the 27-hour marathon, so I guess in Japan they don't know how long a day is. No, I'm just kidding. It's an annual marathon they always have, so there will not be an episode next week. Dragon Ball Super will resume broadcasting on August the 2nd. Or technically it's August 1st for those of us in the Western Hemisphere. So my thoughts on the episode real quick. I don't like the fact that we're kind of seeing everything over again. I do like that. I mean, I don't hate it, but I like that they're expanding upon the mythos. It just seems like they kind of explained it and took too long to explain it. Like some of the explanations that Kai was giving about the gods of creation, God's destruction, that could have been done much quicker, and even in the last episode. They're definitely padding this out, and it's actually even more padded out than Dragon Ball Z so far. I mean, we don't know how it's going to end up, but come on, guys. By Dragon Ball Z Episode 3, Goku and Piccolo were already fighting Radix. That's Episode 3. Now we're in Episode 3 of Super, and we haven't even seen any kind of action yet. And again, I know Dragon Ball's a comedy series. I get it. But I feel, personally, in my opinion, it's taking way too long. It's really dragging, and that's not what I wanted out of Super. I wanted a much better paced show. It's really dragging. And what kind of irritates me is that next episode is going to be, in the preview, we saw more hijinks of Goten and Trunks on the yacht, fucking around with the chef. I mean, it's one of those things where we already saw Goten and Trunks hijinks in Episode 1. We don't need to see them in Episode 2. I would rather they devote the whole 4th episode to just Pilaf if they want to go the comedic route. But we're seeing Pilaf, and then we're also seeing Goten and Trunks. We already saw them. Like, Personally, I'm going to wait and see. I'll wait for the episode to air, but I'm not liking the pace here so far. But who knows where it's going to go. We do know that Beerus is going to appear on the planet, on North Kai's planet, and will go face-to-face with Goku. Very slim chance they fight until episode 5. Again, they could have squeezed it in, but they're taking way too long. So this episode of Super, not as good as the first two. We're seeing some good explanations of things that most Dragon Ball fans already knew, but just not the best. My other criticism is I really am irritated at the fact that Beerus is being basically retconned. He's like a walking retcon. So now what we've learned is that Beerus wiped out the dinosaurs. Beerus told Frieza to destroy Planet Vegeta. Beerus put freaking Old Kai in the Z-Sword. So what's next? Is Beerus going to give Dr. Gero the idea to make the androids? Is Beerus going to be the secret creator of Majin Buu? Like, I almost feel like Beerus is this character that's going to be the secret enemy behind everything we've seen so far. And I don't like that. I do not like that. So we'll see. It's a little irritating, but overall, it was fine. It's not an episode that I'm going to be revisiting when I get this show on DVD or Blu-ray, probably Blu-ray. But they kind of had to do this episode to catch people up if people had forgotten about what happened in Battle of Gods, which just came out a couple years ago. So if you've seen Battle of Gods, you honestly can probably skip this episode, truthfully speaking. You probably won't, but you probably could. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening, and I will catch you down the road.